Russian President Vladimir Putin recently visited the 929 National Test Flight Center in Akhtubinsk to inspect the development of the nation's military aviation equipment. The local media reported that he found 5th-generation Sukhoi Su-57s, MiG-31BMs, and Dagger hypersonic missiles, but no official report mentioned the secretive Sukhoi S-70 drone, also known as Hunter B. Even so, satellite imagery captured it on the spot, close to the current prototype of the most advanced Su-57 fighter. Remarkably, the profile of the stealth-heavy unmanned combat aerial vehicle was not at all inferior to the Sukhoi's flanker family. In fact, the drone's wingspan was significantly wider than the Su-57, while shorter in overall length, measuring 17.6 meters by 13.6 meters. Other photos showed it has a height of roughly 2.8 meters, without a proper tail layout, positioning it between the Su-57 and the Su-34. The expectations on Russia's newest drone are through the roof, as it is believed it will become a fighter of its own kind. And not just any fighter, but a 6th-generation one. As far back as 2011, the OKB Sukhoi Research Bureau started working on a heavy drone under contract with the Russian Defense Ministry. The purpose of the research endeavor was to build an uncrewed reconnaissance and strike aircraft able to operate autonomously while achieving high speeds. After a few years, the director of the Directorate of Military Aircraft Programs of the United Aircraft Corporation, Vladimir Mikhailov, stated, quote, "We are doing work on the Sukhoi Hunter. This machine is very promising. Now there is research work, with the subsequent transition to experimental design work." However, the characteristics of the unmanned aerial vehicle in question were not revealed. But as open data suggested, it would be the heaviest drone of its type, with a takeoff mass of 20 tons. Years later, in 2017, a photograph of the so-called Hunter was leaked and made its rounds on the internet. Notably, it showed that the aircraft was designed around the flying wing aerodynamic scheme. The Okhotnik B, or Hunter B, is the first Russian heavy drone. Not only is it equipped with a jet engine, but according to military sources, it has anti-radar coverage and advanced equipment for optoelectronic and radio engineering, among other reconnaissance features. By 2018, the drone had entered the final stage of ground tests with the first rollout. The results were promising, and it was now ready for its first flight, which was scheduled for the following year. On August 3, 2019, Okhotnik B made a full-fledged controlled flight around a military airfield at an altitude of 600 meters. Its maiden flight included takeoff, maneuvering, and a full-time landing, operated by the staff on the ground. In a video published by the Russian military, the drone can be seen steering along the strip of a military airfield with gray camouflage paint. However, the drone would soon make an entirely autonomous flight, and as stated by Professor Vladimir Kozyulin of the Russian Academy of Military Sciences, quote, "This is not just one of the first strike drones built in Russia, but a platform for testing 6th-generation fighter technologies. I wish to stress that the specifications are still being finalized, but the main feature is already known: fully robotized systems." In Russian military terms, the characteristic fully robotized implies there is no human pilot, and the machine alone is capable of making independent battle decisions from the start to the end of an operation. Kozyulin added, quote, "The machine already performs the full cycle of combat operations, with the exception of deploying weapons in battle. This function lies with the operator." It is expected that Okhotnik B will feature the same cutting-edge technology as the prospective T-50 heavy fighter, but even more noteworthy is the claim that it will not only be an unmanned aerial vehicle, but an actual 6th-generation aircraft. Curiously, the Russian drone bears some resemblance to Lockheed Martin's RQ-170. In fact, it is speculated that the engineers might have had access to one such model captured by the Iranians. However, a similar development was conceived by McCoy and Scott as early as 2005, and Okhotnik B is an iteration of the MiG line. Based on the vehicle's known takeoff weight, Most experts assume Okhotnik B will be compatible to the American drone X-47B, developed by Northrop Grumman. Some similar characteristics might include the ability to fly at high subsonic speeds, operate within a radius of 4,000 kilometers, and carry a diverse load. Moreover, the drone is expected to achieve a top speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour, roughly the speed of sound, while fully loaded. As for its brain, the drone is entirely autonomous due to the implementation of artificial intelligence. In addition, it has borrowed many technologies and ammunition from the Su-57 fifth-generation fighter. The vehicle's arsenal will reportedly feature air-to-surface missiles, as well as an array of glide and operator-controlled bombs. The weapons will not be suspended from the wings, but will instead be hidden inside the body to reduce the radar signature. Also, the cargo will potentially include the OFZAB 500 high-fragmentation, high-explosive incendiary bomb and the ODAB 500 PMV fuel-air explosive bomb. Regarding its airframe, the drone is built from composite materials with a radio-reflective coating characteristic of stealth technology that allows it to be low observable in flight. Furthermore, the Russian Defense Ministry publicly stated the drone will be virtually invisible to radars. The power plant consists either of a single AL-31F turbofan, like the one from the Sukhoi Su-27 fighter, or the improved AL-41F derivative installed in the Su-35S fighters and Su-57 prototypes. Moreover, the Hunter B is a heavy-duty drone, especially when compared to American, British, and French models of the same level that are more sizable and considerably heavier. However, their performance is not as desired. The Heavy Strike drone made its first joint test flight with an Su-57 on September 27, 2019. During the 30-minute flight, the crewed and uncrewed aircraft practiced their interaction, taking care of expanding the fighter's radar coverage. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the team also conducted an exercise to detect targets that could be hit with long-range airborne weapons, meaning outside of a zone protected by air defenses. Serial deliveries are expected to begin in 2024, as Yuri Slyusar, head of the United Aircraft Corporation, reported to Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, "We received the task from the Ministry of Defense to speed up the development work, to move it to the left as much as possible. Therefore, we are now actively working with our colleagues on this issue." The latest heavy attack stealth drone is also expected to possess unprecedented capabilities. Not only will the device have the most considerable combat range among Russian drones, but also the widest range of weapons and equipment. Slyusar stressed, quote, "Only two countries, the United States and China, design and manufacture machines of this class." The Okhotnik B is expected to go into production in 2023, with its manufacturer working on improvements for its ground control equipment. However, the Russian Defense Ministry informed that while they expected to receive the drone in large numbers starting in 2024, the head of Rostec recently surprised everyone by announcing deliveries may begin a year earlier.